Hello everyone, welcome to episode 53 of Show Review, where today we'll be going over episode 1 of Invincible Season 4. Now this episode, I honestly really enjoyed it. Okay, it did have a bit of the growing pains that expositions usually have, but it was honestly a really good episode, and I liked where it shows where the season will be going. But yeah, so just start off, we see as Oliver, Mark, and Eve are just going about doing normal hero things, but there's just an abundance of hero work needing to be done. So we see they're kind of getting burnt out, and we see as Mark and Oliver kind of get into a bit of a scuffle. Not really a scuffle, but a little bit of an argument, because Oliver just wants to live the life of a normal kid, normal teenager. He doesn't want to go on and do hero stuff all the time. But we see as Mark ends up taking up for him, and he kind of progresses along, and eventually we see as Mark actually ends up going on to one call where he runs into this dude who is a T-Rex man, and he is honestly a supporter of the Invincible war, because he's like, yo, it killed off people, and it killed off extra mouths that needed to be fed. So he's like, you know what, you did a good job there. And Mark is obviously enraged by this, and so he gets to fight the dude, and he gets him on the ropes essentially. And eventually the T-Rex man, he just turns into a normal man again, and Mark's like, he's not letting go. He's still just enraged at him, but eventually he ends up letting him go, and the Guardians pull up and all that good stuff. But yeah, so we just continue along a little bit more, and we just see eventually as Mark is over at Eve's place to kind of meet up with her parents and kind of get to know each other and stuff like that. And we see as Eve's dad is obviously very distasteful of Mark because he's a superhero. He knows that he's invincible, and he just kind of has his normal hate for heroes on him, but he also despises them because he has put Eve in multiple life-threatening situations. And he makes Mark kind of feel a little bit guilty about this because he realizes that, hey, he has done this, even though it wasn't really his fault, which he voices to Eve's dad. But then we also see a scene where Eve and her mom are talking together while they're washing the dishes, and we see as Eve's mom is almost insinuating that a possibility of divorce. So maybe we'll get this bomb father of Eve's out of the picture eventually, because I'm tired of seeing him every daggone season. But yeah, so moving on from that, we see as Eve and Mark are kind of talking it up, and there's Mark eventually reveals to Eve that the trouble he was having and all that with the T-Rex dude. And then we go to a scene of this random green woman who just falls in out of nowhere, and she has started to absorb electricity throughout the world. And then we also get a scene of these two dudes are going throughout the sewers. They're just cleaning stuff up, looking for obstructions and all that good stuff. And eventually they end up running on Sequid. These Sequid end up taking them over, and then we kind of get the main plot point of this episode. But yeah, so we see as the electric woman, I don't even know if she's given a title in this episode, but we see as she ends up going to a nuclear center, and she's like, I need all the energy in here, and he's holding them up with essentially holding the stick up, and she is prepared to take all the energy, which she begins to do, but Mark and Eve end up coming up on her, and we see as they begin to box her up a little bit, but actually she ends up doing Mark in a tad, and so we see Eve has to go up against her, but when Eve tries to use her powers, we see as they dissolve right in front of her, like bubbles essentially, and we see as it falls away, and she's unable to use her power for the time, so she has to end up going to fisticuffs like Mark usually does, and she does well. She ends up incapacitating the villain, and that's that for them. But then we see as the Sequid have become a far grander problem. They have started to duplicate within the sewers and attaching to other people, and this has led to a large-scale issue that the Guardians of the Globe are are notified of, and so they prepare accordingly. So they prepare these things that are like resonance devices, and they emit a wave of power energy that ends up blasting Sequid, and they have these teleporter darts that they're hitting people with, so once they get the Sequid off them, they can teleport them to a safe place. And so we see as the Guardians are essentially doing this, they have put up a barrier around the main area of contamination, and they're progressively just fighting against the Sequid and teleporting the individuals back once they save them. And this all goes well for a while until the Sequid start to duplicate at a rate that duplicate and take over humans at a rate that the Guardians can't handle. And eventually they have this one dude who is taken over by many Sequid, and he kind of becomes like the figurehead of the hive mind, and we see that he's kind of put up in a group of Sequid. But eventually we see as Mark ends up coming in to help with them, but Mark doesn't have that little disruptor thing, nor does he have a teleporter dart gun, so he's just kind of doing his own thing and helping to destroy the Sequid as much as he can. But eventually we see as it becomes almost impossible for them to actually get all the Sequid. They start duplicating too fast, and the barrier's reaching its limits. So eventually, they are working on getting to the main like plinth dude, and whatchamacallit, crap, like killing him. But yeah, so we see as this happens, and as they're preparing to do this, we see as I can't remember what his name, but he's like the dude. He's not Rex, but he's the dude who's like the black man with the like, yellow suit and all that on the Guardians. He's been there like the entire time. But we see as he's trying to get a what do they call it, disruptor to the area, but Mark is going for this man as well, and he ends up pushing through and eventually getting to him, where he's holding this man and he's hearing the feedback from the wall thing, and it's saying that it's about to break. So he has a vital decision to make. He can either kill this man and allow the Sequids to die off, or he can not and possibly allow the Sequids to escape before the man with their whatchamacallit, why do I keep forgetting this, disruptor comes back. So he ultimately ends up making the decision. He kills this man, and everything. The day is saved. But Mark is now left with a essentially innocent life on his hands, even though it was necessary for the continued stability of humankind. Because if the Sequids would have escaped, they would have started duplicating at a far more alarming rate than they would have at the moment. But yeah, then we move along and we get to the final kind of scene of this episode, where we see as Cecil is freaking out a little bit because he's getting readings from the area where Conquest is imprisoned. And we see as Conquest sitting there, he's like, oh, they kept me alive, stupid individuals. And we see as the prison starts to rise and break up, and Conquest comes out butt booty on naked and starts to fly off planet. So that's where the episode ends, and I cannot wait to see where Conquest is going or what Conquest plans to do, because I honestly didn't know that he lived, because I mean I'm not well versed in the Invincible verse like past what the show has at all, because I haven't read the comics, and I don't want to read the comics because there's no point in really paying that much money to collect all of them when I can just watch it as the season come out. And I really enjoy the animation of this. And yes, it does have some crass, kind of stupid jokes, but I do really enjoy the Invincible series as a whole, so I cannot wait to see where Conquest is going, like what he's going to do, because I believe that will probably have an integral role in the series. But yeah, that's all there really was for episode 1 of Invincible. I really enjoyed it. It was a great first episode, a great exposition, especially with Conquest escaping at the end. So yeah, I cannot wait to see what they do with episodes 2 and so on and so forth. But that's all I really have for episode 3 of Show For You, so thank you very much for watching.